like to welcome you all out to our 2019 Community Development Resource Fair. And we're celebrating National Community Development Week, Department of Housing and Neighborhood Programs, Community Development Division. My name is Kevin Howard. We're going to go ahead and get started with our events. I'm going to go ahead and bring up our Department Director, Victor Turner, and he's going to give our greetings.
Good evening. Thanks, Kevin. We want to thank you all for coming out. We know we're bumping up against some other events tonight. I think our new police chief is having a round table out in Southwest Little Rock, so we do appreciate you all coming out. This is the culmination of Community Development Week, National Community Development Week, and we've had a slate of activities this week highlighting the different things that we do with our federal programs. The Community Development Block Grant Program and the Home Investment Partnerships Program are the two main ones that we're focusing on this week. We're blessed to have Ward 6 Director Doris Wright here. She's going to be giving us a few remarks. Also, our HUD Field Office Director is here, Ms. Wanda Merritt. If you stand and let people see you. So thank you for coming out. Wanda doesn't have to worry about anything with our department as far as any violations or any of that, because we've had a clean slate for several years, so y'all can quit coming, really. So, you know, go somewhere else, North Little Rock. But anyway, again, thank you all for coming. We have several of our partners here. Centennial and Bank OZK is here. Then who else do we have here? We have Realtors, Kerry Joyner. We have BCD here. We have some of our other city departments, Dana Doucette, partner with St. Vincent. So anyway, glad you all could come out. And I won't belabor the point, but Miss Valerie Smith with St. Vincent, they administer our health clinic out in East Little Rock. We provide about $175,000 annually to the clinic out in East Little Rock. They serve over 7,000 people annually, healthcare, that for low, moderate income individuals. So at this time, I'm going to ask her to come forth and say a few words about the importance of the federal programs and what they mean to St. Vincent and the clinic in East Little Rock. Thank you.
This is kind of tall for me, isn't it? Thank y'all for having me today. Truly, I'm really excited about coming to tell you guys what we do at St. Vincent's East. We've been in partnership with the city for almost 50 years. And one of the things I like to share with you guys is that I know a lot of times we hear about health care, we've heard about the Affordable Care Act, we've heard about all those things, but we have to understand too that there are still people out here that cannot afford health care. They cannot afford to go to the dentist. They cannot afford to go to the doctor. And so one of the things that we've done as a partnership is made it affordable for people to come and see a doctor. They can come in to see the doctor, they can see the dentist. We have two full-time, an APN, a full-time medical doctor, a full-time dentist, another doctor that's there full-time on Fridays. And we have actually treated this year probably close to over 4,000 people starting from January to now. There are people that call us on a daily basis. They either need a tooth extracted, they either need to come in because they're diabetes, and I don't know how many of you all know it, but there are so many people out here with a need. They're diabetic, high blood pressure, they're heart disease, and they have no place to go. We hear about all these clinics that are open. Here's a free clinic. We've heard about River City Ministries. They're only open certain days of the week. You hear about Shepherd's Hope. You hear about all of these places that have doctors that can treat. And there are people that literally think that that's enough. They literally think that that's all they need. But we have patients out here every day, homeless, near homeless, uninsured, underinsured, that literally need the support that the City of Little Rock is doing and St. Vincent's has partnered to do. We have transportation that takes patients from their homes to the clinic and back from the clinic to their homes for free. We can't go anywhere else. We don't knock on their door. We don't do any of that, but we can pick that patient up and make sure that they're able to get to their appointments. We make sure that those patients that come in and say, for instance, they have diabetes or maybe they need a specialist, we try to find those patients a doctor that will treat them even for their diabetes beyond what we can do, so that they may need a specialist. And if any of you have ever been sick, if any of you have insurance just like mine, you got high deductibles. How many of y'all got high deductibles? I got a high deductible. I gotta meet a deductible before I can see that. Once I go in to see the doctor, I gotta meet that deductible. And there are people out here with jobs that they just can't meet their deductibles. There's no way that they're able to do it. And for those of you that have ever visited the clinic, you have an opportunity to see that. You have an opportunity to see those people and to see those patients that have a need. And so the monies that is funded to East Little Rock, to the clinic, we need it. We need it desperately because the people need it. And so that's what we're there to do, is to care for them and to give them the things that they need. We have a dentist and he's there Monday through Friday. The Latino community, you guys know it's growing by leaps and bounds. And now at this point, I'm probably seeing at least probably anywhere from 40% of my patients are Latino. I have 3 people that are bilingual in the office. I have at least 4 people that are African American. I have 2, well, no, there's 3, 4 that are Caucasian. So the clinic is diverse. So we're able to take care of patients just from all the cultures. One of my doctors is Indian. So we're living in a world and a society where everybody needs health care. Whether they have the ability to pay for it or not, they deserve health care. And if you're like me, I like to share stories that I have a son myself that worked all of his life, but all of a sudden he fell on sick time. And he had to apply for affordable care. And so from a mother that's watching this go on and then now having to have to deal with it, guess what? I see it from the other side. So what I'm saying to you guys today is that we want you all to continue to think about what St. Vincent's East and the city of Little Rock is doing to partner. And like I said before, we have van transportation. Now we have legal aid for those patients that are not able, that they need a legal aid service. We offer legal aid services out there as well. And we have dental, health, all of those things. And so when you all think about it, when people start to talk about it, when you hear people say, well, hey, they can afford the Affordable Care Act, I beg to differ, because I see it every day. Because between people eating and people paying for insurance, I don't care if it's $5, and everybody does not take Medicaid. I wanted to let that drop that in somebody's spirit. Every doctor's office does not take Medicaid. And I have a difficult time some days trying to get some specialty clinic to see somebody with Medicaid only. Medicaid only, they don't do it. So if you have any questions, any concerns like that, I'm always open to be an ear, but we do not turn patients away, because if they don't have the ability to pay it, we still don't turn them away. We let them know that there is a sliding fee scale. It's $20 to see a doctor. It's $5 for labs if they bring me a proof of income. And so that way they can get, that can be their food stamps, that can be a letter from their pastor, signatures, and it's got to be on their letterhead. And those are the types of things that we look for. So if there's anything out there, if there's someone that knows somebody that needs that kind of health care, St. Vincent's East and the city of Little Rock has partnered to do that for you. And I got one more thing to say. These little things back there that I'm giving out, I have some dental, I want you all to know we have dental, so I have a table back there, but when you look at this, it says kids, but actually I have shared with them, if you want it, it's great for you all to floss with. I would rather that you not give it to your children, because if this little piece here comes off of it, then I don't want somebody's child to swallow it. But I do want you to know that it's great for you, because I use it for myself, okay, and it is a dental flosser. That's all I have.
Appreciate it, Ms. Smith. With the amount of funding that CHI St. Vincent East Clinic receives, equivalates to $24 per person, and they assist over 7,400 people per year. And like she said, it's 4,000 now. It's probably going to double based on what she just said earlier. So it'll be close to 8,000. That'll be the most we've pretty much done in the past year. So that's really a great need, and I think it's a great service that they provide. Before we move on to the next item on the agenda, we'd like to provide a little clip of what we done earlier this week to show our appreciation, our celebration of National Community Development Week. So I'm going to play this clip real fast.
We want to welcome you all to National Community Development Week. This is an event that started in 1986, and this is the first day of a week-long list of activities. We're here at one of the homes that we've developed with Home Investment Partnerships Program from U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
We do have a spacious garage. We have a front and rear porch. We have energy efficiency windows. The house is listed at $128,000.
You know, as I teach the people about their finances and management, it's important that they have that help, that financial help to get into a home. So that down payment assistance is very important. And I love the homes that they're building in the community. They're very modern, and I believe that they're a place that any family would love to
And that's
call
just a
home.
little clip of our ribbon cutting ceremony at the property at 1308 Jones Street that we had on Monday. Again, this will end our event of events that we had this week for National Community Development Week. So we're gonna move on the agenda. Our speaker of the hour will be Director Doris Wright, one of our board directors for Ward 6. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce Director Wright. Doris Jones Wright is the City Director for Ward 6, a native of Lake Village, Arkansas. She received a Bachelor of Science degree in Psychology and Sociology from University of Arkansas at Monticello in 1981. She also received a Certified Public Manager designation from the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. Director Wright was first elected to Little Rock Board of Directors in November of 2006. She was reelected in November of 2010. She served as the first female African-American Vice Mayor of the City of Little Rock from 2012 to 2014. She is a past president of John Barrow Neighborhood Association, a longtime advocate for the John Barrow area. She is involved in Parkview Arts and Science Magnet High School Parent Teachers Student Association. In 2003, Director Wright was instrumental in the placement and construction of a public library in her ward. In 2005, Director Wright established and remains heavily involved in the West Central Sports Complex. The complex is 25 acres, includes 5 baseball and softball fields, and provides programming for kids ages 3 to 15 years of age. 2016 marked the 11th season and proved to be a record year with over 1,150 youth on 96 teams, making it the largest program in Central Arkansas. Director Wright developed the Ward 6 Transformation Plan, which completed a comprehensive assessment of all 24 neighborhoods in Ward 6 that recommended 12 projects to improve the area. In 2007, she established the West Central Senior Activity Center for residents aged 55 and over, and established the Women of Stamina Award to honor women 80 years and older. In 2009, she developed and served as the editor-in-chief of the West Central Community Magazine, a magazine devoted to the communities of West Central Little Rock. In 2011, she secured funding for a new community center. The grand opening for the new West Central Community Center was held November 12th of 2016. The community center is a project that has been 25 years in the making and is the first community center in the state to have a community radio station, KWCP West Central Pride 98.9 LPM. And I know from firsthand knowledge that the radio station is a great thing to have in the community. It's the first thing that I really think that's really great for the area because it gets out events and it makes notice, and you get a chance to do PR, PSAs, because I've been a part of that. The City of Little Rock Community Development Block Grant Program has assisted in the West Central Senior Activity Center in the past. Now it's been taken over by Parks and Recreation, so we've had a partnership, and she's done a lot of great things to provide funding for those areas in greatest needs. I'd like to welcome Director Doris Wright to the podium. Give her a hand.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that warm welcome. And I really kind of got a little bit startled because here's one of my kids, Braylon. We go way, way back when he was a little boy and at the park. And now he's interested in buying a home, Victor, so we'll talk about that. Good evening. As stated, I am City Director Doris Wright, and I represent Ward 6 on the Little Rock Board of Directors, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to Ward 6, West Central Little Rock, and this community center, which is one of my pride and joys. As you know, this was rebuilt after it burned, so we are in a state-of-the-art facility. I'm very proud to have two such venues for our citizens to come into. I've been asked to speak about the importance of community development and how these funds have been utilized in Ward 6. First, let's clarify what is community development, because we get that term tossed around a lot, but do we really understand what that actually means? Well, community development is a process where the community members come together to take collective action and generate solutions to common problems. Community well-being, which means economic, social, environmental, and cultural, often evolves from this type of collective action being taken at a grassroots level. In short, community development allows individuals living in eligible areas to improve their immediate quality of life. Therefore, the CDBG program and the HOME program have been instrumental in that in our low and moderate income areas in the city of Little Rock. I have long been associated with these type programs because in my hometown of Lake Village, we did receive those funds, and it did help in the communities to bring in water lines in the rural areas, and that's something you all don't have to think about up here, but CDBG has been around a long, long time. And in my career in state government, I worked with nonprofits around the state who utilize CDBG and home funds to improve rural areas and build housing. And in most of those areas would not have gotten any housing stock or any type of investment because you're dealing with poor communities. So CDBG and home are very instrumental in the community development process. As a matter of fact, I think that's pretty much at the federal level the only funds, if I'm not mistaken, that they utilize for that purpose. Why National Community Development Week? Well, we have a congressional delegation at the federal level. And oftentimes, these are people that don't look like you and me. And they don't live where you and I live. So they are a little bit far removed from the actual situations that our citizens face. So when there's an opportunity to meet with Congressman French Hill to talk about the needs of Little Rock in our neighborhoods, I take those opportunities because he is a businessman that looks at everything from a business point of view and not necessarily from the grassroots level that we are engaged in. Not to say that they're not empathetic, they just have not that real world experience. It's a difference, as the lady that's directing of the St. Vincent East was trying to explain. It's a difference for somebody that has insurance that, like me, because of my career in state government, and when I retired, I was able to keep it to go into my doctor's office and hand her my card. But my doctor has a sign up on her window. She does not take Medicaid. Okay? So I know firsthand what she's talking about. CDBG is vital for the well-being of our low and moderate income citizens. And we have to make sure that the congressional delegation that represents Little Rock understands that. Now, sometimes when it comes down to the state of Arkansas, the name Little Rock is a dirty word. They feel like we got a huge tax base, all these businesses and companies, and we don't need anything, and all the money should go to the outer line counties. Well, you and I know that's not true. So it's up to us to make sure that we take advantage of opportunities like Community Development Week to educate them as to the needs that we have. And the video, the houses that we build, the young people that are interested in buying their first home, the senior that needs to have a roof put on their house, the elderly person that's handicapped that needs a wheelchair ramp. Where do you think these funds come from? They don't fall out of the sky. And trust me, as you will be hearing real soon, we're getting ready to cut the budget. So what happens to those dollars that those citizens need? We need these funds. And your tax dollars, because believe it or not, when you pay taxes, they go to the federal government. We paid them for a long time. So we deserve to have that investment, and it's up to us to educate the congressional delegation about CDBG. And the good part about CDBG and home funds, CDBG, for every dollar that CDBG leverages, another $4.09 in other funding comes in. That's a high return. For every dollar that we get in CDBG funds, another $4.09 is going along with that. And in home funds, for every dollar is $4.38. That's good leveraging, because just those dollars alone are not enough. You have to have additional funds. Now, we all know that we need more affordable housing. I follow housing trends. I make it my, I was in the construction business for 8 years with my husband, so I've always been interested in construction and that type of thing. So I tend to follow housing trends, and I've been noticing that the trend is shifting back to home ownership, away from apartment living, which is good at the national level, and hopefully that we'll begin to see more of that at the local level. But for people interested in buying their first home, it's really hard without that down payment and closing cost assistance. A 3% down payment doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot. And if you don't come up with that, what do? Well, with CDBG and home funds, especially home funds, housing becomes more affordable. You may be able to get the HUD loan, but what about that down payment? You gotta have something to bridge the gap, and these funds will allow that. And I would love to see this young couple in a home that stabilizes the neighborhood. People that own homes care more about the community. They're more involved in the community. You're more likely to cut the grass and make sure your trash can's not left out there, and make sure that paper is not strewn up and down, because you want your house and your yard and your property values to mean something. So home ownership is critical to the stabilization of our neighborhoods, especially in Ward 6. In Ward 6, I was impressed with the numbers that Kevin sent me. I knew some of this, but not the total. And I'll give you the good news first. From 2013 to 2018, over $700,000 has been invested in Ward 6. That's a lot of money. And he gave me a further breakdown where it said $100,000 in home funds have been spent to improve the living conditions of seniors, and home funds have been used to purchase and rehab 2 homes. Hopefully that'll be one Braylon is interested in, hopefully. Over $250,000 in CDBG funds have been used to provide emergency assistance and limited home repair to residents. And CDBG funds have been used to install 19 wheelchair ramps, which my neighbor Verna, I'm sure has something to do with. And working with an organization called World Changers, I know that 19 homes in Ward 6 received upgrades. I know some of them were painted, some of them had roofs done, just general maintenance that low-income people sometimes are not able to afford to do to keep up their homes. And standing from my vantage point as an elected official, I have to look at this from an overall standpoint, because eventually, well, I can tell you now, we're becoming very popular in Ward 6, and in John Barrow, and in Broadmoor. And I don't want gentrification to set in and people that live there not be able to afford to live there. If we can get them stabilized in their homes and get their homes fixed up, then people will be comfortable in their homes and they can stay there. They won't have to move out, because once developers come in and start buying up things, the price goes up. And that little house that I built, I might not be able to afford that house. That's what gentrification is, and you have to be careful with that. That's why CDBG is so important, to get young people into homes where they can get their foot in the door. And believe it or not, I don't care what you hear. I know we see all this stuff on TV and all this glamorous stuff, and you know, the ballers and all that money they're making, and the rappers and all that. A home is the best investment that you're gonna make. It is a pathway to wealth. It will build equity. Believe me, your credit looks better if you own a home rather than just renting. So home ownership is extremely important, and CDBG and home funds go a long way to help us stabilize our neighborhoods and help young people, young families, and our seniors be able to live in their homes in comfort and peace. And I will even go one step further. I think it helps with our health issues, because if that home is fixed up, you don't have mold, okay? When people have these congestion in their chest, I've been reading a lot about that. And if that home is renovated and in good repair, then that person probably doesn't have those health issues. So understand, and I know you all do, I'm preaching to the choir, because I recognize most of you. These funds are immensely important, and I have no problem telling Congressman Hill and any of our congressional delegation how important it is and how important 2020 is for us, that we do not allow these funds to be cut. They've been in jeopardy for years. They always start with the low-hanging fruit, and CDBG and home is one of those where they always taking pot shots at it. You know, they're always talking about Social Security. They want to cut that. They want to cut this. But these are programs that lower and moderate income residents rely on, and they have a right to these funds because we have paid in, and our dollars are going to support that federal budget. So if you have an opportunity, and most of you probably won't, but if you do have an opportunity to engage with any of our congressional delegations, just express to them how important it is. And don't be shy about letting our mayor know, because he will be engaging with them, and he understands the importance of our neighborhoods and the importance of stabilizing our neighborhoods. And the only way we can do that is if our residents live in safe, affordable housing. Thank you.
Before you sit down, we, as a token of our appreciation, we'd like to get our director to come in, and we'd like to provide you with this card as appreciation.
It's personal, it ain't city.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, cool.
So we can stand over here so we can get a picture. Moving right along, I'd like to bring up our Community Development Administrator, Doris Turner, and she's gonna talk about our public service recipients. And Doris does a great job of being a liaison with our public service sponsors and our recipients of the public service funds we get through the Community Development Block Grant. 15% of our allocation goes to our public service sponsors. So Doris, would you come on up?
Good evening. As has been discussed earlier, during Community Development Week, we take the opportunity to showcase some of our projects and other activities that are conducted during the year. And of course, we could not do this without some of our project sponsors, without our partners, and our other public service providers. And so we want to take this opportunity to recognize them. There are a number of our public sector providers that were not able to be with us this evening, so we will only be recognizing those that are in attendance. So as I call the name of your organization, a representative come up. Better Community Development, and the certificate reads, the Department of Housing and Neighborhood Programs, City of Little Rock, Arkansas, hereby awards Better Community Development in grateful recognition of your support and participation during Community Development Week, this certificate of appreciation, helping to ensure viable communities by making a difference in the lives of people. In witness thereof, I hereto set my hand for the City of Little Rock on this 25th day of April in the year of our Lord 2019, signed by our Housing Director, Victor Turner, and Bruce T. Moore, City Manager. Our next certificate, Chi St. Vincent East Clinic. We have Mainstream. And Mainstream is our partner who assists us with the construction of the wheelchair ramps throughout the City of Little Rock. This is one of our programs where there is always a great demand. They actually get calls from people all over Pulaski County and even outside of Pulaski County, the entire state. And last but definitely not least, community programs.
I'd like to say what I appreciate most about this is that this represents interdepartmental support, and that's really important because in a lot of different cities you don't have that. So it's really awesome to know that at the City of Little Rock we have different departments working together to make a difference in the community. And I think that's really something that we as citizens should be proud of. So I also thank your department because you didn't have to do it.
Again, I'd like to thank you all for coming out. Again, like Victor said before, we're in competition with Little Rock Police Department. We got a new police chief, but I greatly appreciate you all coming out and supporting our event. Next year, we like to make this event bigger and better each year. This is our third year doing this event, so we'll be going on our fourth year of having this event of our Community Development Resource Fair. This is National Community Development Week again, and it ends tomorrow all across the country. Each community, over 1,200 communities have been celebrating National Community Development Week. I'm gonna go ahead and bring our Director, Victor Turner, up for our closing remarks. Thank you again.
Yeah, again, thank you all for coming. Certainly want to say appreciation to our partners and all of you all that came to support this event. Our potential home buyers, we met in the office the other day, so I'm glad you all came. We invited you to come, and we'll certainly try to do all we can to help you become a homeowner. And again, this is our first time doing this in the evening. We've had it in the past during the lunch hour, so we want to try something different. And just, like I said, the timing with other events going on. So we may be during the day next year, maybe evening, but we want to continue to do this. We want to try to make it bigger. But before we close, Wanda, I can't leave without at least asking you to come and say a few words to the body here. She is responsible for the HUD field office and the funding that we get, and she's been a good partner and friend to our office we can always pick up the phone and call our HUD field office and feel comfortable in asking them questions without thinking we might get in trouble or our hands slapped if it's something that we're not doing correctly. I don't think we have that issue at all, haven't had, but if you want to say a few words, Wanda, we'd love for you to do so.
Thank you for the opportunity. Again, I've had the opportunity to participate in this event for 3 years, and you know, CDBG and home is really near and dear to my heart. Before I started with HUD, I was the Community Development Administrator in Abilene, Texas. And so when I hear CDBG and home and first-time home buyers and public service, 15% cap, it brings back a lot of memories. And I just want to really commend, this staff, the city staff, because they are truly our partners. And we realize at HUD, we can't do it alone. We have to have the partners, the boots on the ground, the folks in the weeds that really make it happen. We provide the funding, but we cannot do it without you. And so, Victor and the entire staff, thank you for being a good partner to HUD. And so far, you're not in trouble, so keep up the good work now, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. Y'all have a good evening. Still some food.